Hello everyone, welcome to the first of these classes. Now ideally you will do this one first before you do the various meditation classes. Those of you doing this online, I'm hoping, actually which is all of you, I'm hoping that you will all go in the order that I'm suggesting so that we have a continuous narrative. It's the same order, it's the same program done both in person and online. So if you go through it in this order, you will experience it very much the way that the in-person bunch will experience it in a few days by my timing. So we'll start with a basic Hatha class with some pranayama. And the way I'm going to structure these classes actually is not just random yoga classes. Everything you do this week is geared toward giving you the best possible chance of going deep in your meditation. This does not mean you're spending the whole time just kind of lying around in relaxed yin postures. You'll be working actually pretty hard at times, not so much today, in bits maybe, but the aim is to get the body in a new alignment, both physically and energetically. You'll hear more about that as we go, so that we have the best possible chance of when we sit or lie down in different meditative forms, that we can go very deep, quite naturally. So let's begin. And today really I wanted to give you just a basic work through some very simple asanas, but I also wanted to teach you the primary classical yogic meditation postures that we can all work with. And the idea is that you choose one of these and over time you cultivate the others perhaps. But the aim is to, especially if you're doing yogic meditation, which is the subject of the third main body of work in this training, you'll work with one of these asanas. So we'll start in the first one before we start to move a bit more. So please take your seat, and on a mat is useful, yoga mat. And what I'd like you to come into is known as Virasana, hero posture. Now Virasana, the classical version, has your feet a little bit outside your bum, and sitting right in between your bum. So you're not sitting on your heels, that's Vajrasana. This is Virasana. You're sitting right in between your feet. You can see my feet are just outside the line of my bum here. There's not a big gap. Please don't turn your feet out. This is a bit of a disaster for your knees. Don't do that. Feet turning back. And I've got this little cushion here because many of you won't be able to do this yet, at least not for 5 or 6 minutes, which you'll be sitting in this with. So those of you who do need to use something like this, a bolster or a block or two, sit on that. That feels really nice actually. So you can always put yourself higher. Please never push. One of the core principles of meditation is we need to be very kind to ourselves. We need to really look after ourselves. Without a sense of care and kindness toward yourself, meditation really isn't going to take you very far, actually. So right from the beginning, let's take this view on. You can use a bolster, you can use blocks, even higher, even 2 or 3. If you haven't got a bolster, use cushions, use your pillows, use your dog, maybe not that. Use whatever you like, and take a seat. Now I'll show you this sideways as you do that, because how the spine is really important. We don't want the spine to be like this, yeah? You're not going to go very far if you're kind of sitting there like, a mini zombie type semi-yogi. Instead, you want to have a really upright spine. Notice how my lower back is even a little bit arched here. I'm not letting myself collapse, I'm really lifting. Again, you may well need the bolster or something like that to do that. So to make all of you feel, less like you are rubbish yogis if you can't sit properly, I'll use a bolster. So if I'm using it, you can use it. It's really okay. It's funny actually, when I'm doing yogic meditation, I always use lotus posture. When I'm doing any other form of meditation, I use cushions and all sorts of things. I'll show you all those asanas later. So don't feel like you are in any way less of a yogi if you are using cushions and bolsters and blocks. So we sit upright, and another core principle in yogic meditation at least is to have the palms facing up. Yeah. And you can do that either in a loose, relaxed way, like so, or you can do this in the classical jnana mudra, which means the seal of wisdom or knowledge. Sometimes in certain Hatha lineages called chin mudra, I believe. You place the first finger and thumb together, and the palms up in your lap. Let's just sit here, and I'm going to get your breath going, because that is really, really, really important. One of the great gifts of yoga asana, yoga postures to meditation, is that they work a lot with breath. Breath. Developing a skillful way of breathing will really help your meditation practice. So sitting down, close the eyes if you can. If they're open, at least make sure they're facing downward, palms facing up. And keep a little bit of awareness always in the front of your sits bones, making sure the weight is there more than the back of your bum, and making sure you're not slumping into the back of your seat. At the same time, make sure there's a sense of the lower back in a gently arched position, so your lower back isn't rounded. The chin is down. And to start with, let's just come into a basic Ujjayi breath. We'll work a lot more in detail with this in the last half an hour of this class as we come to Pranayama. But let's get the basic breath going at least. Ujjayi means victory. And it's a breath that's created by a very slight closing of the top of the throat, the epiglottal region. What that means, to put it simply, is you're basically creating a whisper with the mouth closed. Most of you by now know this one anyway. But some of you who may not have been as exposed to Yogasana as some of the others, I believe not all of you taking this course have gone through yoga practices. It's fine, you don't need to. It's good to explain it anyway. So we basically whisper with the mouth closed, and the sound is something like this. Just in case you can't hear that so clearly, I'm not sure what you pick up on the microphone. It's essentially like this, with the mouth closed. So step one is cultivating an even Ujjayi breath. Make sure the inhalation and the exhalation are roughly the same length. And make sure the breath is very even throughout. So there's no point that the breath suddenly stops or the breath suddenly becomes faster or slower. It's one even speed. Please take this for me for a few breaths. And for now, don't worry quite how deep the breath is. We'll get to that side of it soon enough. For now, just even out the breath. Of course, a little deeper, otherwise it's hard to control, but not so deep. Begin to get more precise with the transitions between the two halves of the breath. So make sure that as soon as the inhalation is finished, the exhalation begins. As soon as the exhalation is finished, the inhalation begins. So there's a sense of continuously moving breath. It's like a breath moving in a circle rather than in lines. You're not just kind of inhaling, exhaling. It's one continuous breath that happens to shift direction every now and again. Let's emphasize the sense of the breath being continuous. If you're starting to get tired and having a hard time with your legs, get some more bolsters, put yourself higher. I know you're staying here for a while, that's by design. Hopefully you're okay. If you're not, and if you really have to move, move, but please mind your knees, no sudden movements. Let's add some more detail. So we've got an Ujjayi breath that is even and continuous, there are no pauses. Adding in the next layer, we breathe more deeply. We take what's called complete yogic breathing. That means we breathe in all the way to our capacity without straining, then breathe out all the way down to nothing. If you're getting dizzy, usually it means that you're either breathing in too much or breathing out too much. Or rather, more likely, one is deeper than the other. Yeah. For example, you can either hyperventilate if you're taking in too much oxygen and not breathing out enough, or you can end up not ventilating enough. So please make sure that the inhalation and the exhalation are the same in terms of depth. Breathing in all the way, breathing out all the way. Now this next one is really only important when it comes to held postures, where you are in postures for a long time. And we'll do a few of those today. As you can see, we're doing one now. As well as pranayama. Pranayama, the slow breathing pranayamas, we always want to be breathing as slowly as we can. Again, without ever straining. Always remember the line, the famous line from the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. One must learn pranayama like taming a tiger. You tame in an unskillful way, you force, you push, it will bite. Don't let that happen. So you're taking in as much air as you can without straining, and then you're breathing out all the way. On the inhalation, there's an inflation that occurs. The body opens outward. On the exhalation, the body squeezes in down to nothing. So it's like you're wrapping everything around your rib cage as you breathe out, and you're inflating like a balloon everything around the ribs as you breathe in. We'll talk more about the place of the bandhas as we go, not yet. They're of course very important too. You know, I know some of this stuff might be, keep going by the way, some of this stuff might be a little bit basic for some of you, as many of you are already long-time yoga asana practitioners, but I'm giving you everything here today that will help you in your meditation practice. And also those of you wanting to teach meditation and wanting to add some yoga asana, my approach I'm giving you in the asanas is really designed to help anyone, even if you're not a long-time yogic practitioner, use asana postures as a way of getting to meditate more easily. Deep breath in, deep breath out. So the next step that I was going to mention that we need to bring in, that is specifically for the longer hold postures, is to slow down the breath. So slow the breath right down. When you're in a long hold, when you're in, let's say, shoulder stand, Cobra posture, there you breathe as slowly as comfortably possible. When you're in things like more regular postures, you're taking a few breaths in, like a standing pose. We'll do a few of those today. Or a Surya Namaskara, we'll do a version of that today too. There you can just let the breath be kind of medium slow, a kind of comfortable slow speed. But when you're in the posture, try to slow your breath right down. Now the slowing down of the breath has a dramatic effect on the mind. It pacifies the mind. The slower and smoother the breath, the calmer and more workable the mind. So do the same breath you're doing already, but add to that a slower speed. We have only one more level to go. We're soon going to be out of this position. Don't worry. We'll be getting out of this kind of leg folding thing in a moment, but bear with me a little longer. Final element. In our regular asanas, there's a very specific pattern of breath in terms of its direction. There will be exceptions to this. Whenever you get an exception, I will tell you when it comes. But this is your basic breath you use in asanas. Those practicing vinyasa flow or ashtanga or really any form of active yoga, not including yin, of course, where the breath isn't a factor. If you're doing any form of active yoga, then you can use this. And this is the up and down breath wave. What that means is, as you inhale, inflate the body in an upward direction. So it's like the belly, then the rib cage, then the chest inflate as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, the chest deflates first, then the ribs deflate, then the belly squeezes in. So we're inhaling up the body, exhaling down the body. Inhale, expand upward, exhale, deflate downward. Inhale, abdomen moves first, exhale, chest moves first. Inhaling belly first, exhaling chest first. Okay, I think that's enough of making you stay in this posture for so long. Get used to it. When you're meditating, you're going to be sitting for a while. So we need to start building your capacity to sit for a long time easily in these shapes. But for now, drop the breath. Let's bring the palms together in front of the chest, and we're going to do a mantra together. The way we'll do this is call and response. So we're going to chant one Om together. And then I'm going to chant a line, and then you're going to copy. So the way it's done, I'm going to chant once, then I'm going to pause and let you respond at home. Then I'm going to chant again, and so on. And we're going to, over the course of this training, just chant some of the more famous, more important classical mantras. And the first one is just really the most exquisite, wonderful, probably most famous of the Shanti mantras, peace chants from the Upanishads, a very ancient body of texts. So let's chant one Om together, then call and response. We'll go through it twice. The second time will be a little different, as I'll join words together. And then when you hear me chant Om again, join me, and we'll chant together Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Yeah. So Om, call and response. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Palms together, front of chest. Close the eyes if they're open. Consume the discomfort in your legs in the sound of the mantra. I know it's hard to stay this long for some of you. We'll come out soon. Let's begin. Asatoma Satgamaya Dhammasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Asatoma Satgamaya Dhammasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, finally you can come out of this posture. So move anything that's there, but please be slow here. Don't rush. As you've been there for a while, you may need some time to ease your way out. Bye, bolster. And what I'd like you to do, first of all, is move into downward facing dog. Take your time. These are just to give your legs a chance to release. So moving our way into downward facing dog, and once we're there, we once again begin to work with our breath. So while I'm sliding along the mat a little bit, it's a hot day in Bali today. It's okay. Let's just move a little bit here, just side to side. If you are sliding on your mat, the trick is to have half your hand on the ground, half the hand on the mat. That's always nice. Kind of moving, stretching out, moving the head, moving anything you need, but at some point settle into the posture. Now please make sure that your feet are closer together than your hands, and also ensure that your toes are slightly closer together than your heels. So you might see, maybe you can't see that, maybe you can, that my toes here are slightly inwardly turned than the heels. That's to help what's called internal thigh bone rotation, to help your thighs correctly align. So I'm going to talk quite a bit when you do your asanas about alignment. Now, physically aligning well is very important. It gets the body well placed, and then when you sit to meditate, it'll be much easier. So the hands, we need to make sure that the fingers are facing the same direction. So don't allow, for example, one hand to turn out more than the other, or one hand to be further back than the other. The hands are perfectly aligned. You either choose your middle finger in the center, facing forward, or the space between index and middle finger, facing forward. We have the chin down a little bit so the neck can be relaxed. And if you haven't already, come back into the breath. By the way, as you do this, I won't show you every asana the whole way. There's no need really, because you'll be busy doing it. You shouldn't be looking at me all the time anyway. You should only be looking at me to check in with what you're doing. So you're in downward dog still, not long here, just a few breaths. Come back to your breath that you learned before, and you can take a kind of medium speed. It doesn't have to be, really, really slow. Not until we get to some of the more sustained asanas. We'll do the first one actually in a little while, a few minutes. So get into that breath. I'd like you to really work first and foremost with this breath, inhaling up the body, exhaling down the body, Ujjayi sound. So please don't use music if you can this week, so that you can really hear your own breath. You're working far more subtly than you might in my regular yoga classes, where I often play with music and so on. This week, we'll take that proper way. The music is your breath. Inhaling, either step or, if you wish, hop your feet to your hands. When you get there, extend both legs, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Can be little, can be deep, up to you. Inhale, bring the body and the arms up, look to your thumbs. And exhale, palms together, front of the chest. Take a few breaths here. So we're going to do something you get to know fairly well this week, which is a Surya Namaskara form that is very old. This form has been done in India for a very long time. There's no written records, but I've spoken to various senior practitioners in India, lineage holders as well, who insist it's been done for at least hundreds, possibly thousands of years. This is the oldest style that we know of so far. So, often called the Hatha Yoga Surya Namaskara. Actually, what I find quite funny is it's more flowing than the Vinyasa style, Surya Namaskara. So what we'll do is I'll talk you through a few, and then I'm going to stop talking and just do it. And then it'll give you a chance to just kind of get on with that without constantly having me distracting you. I'm going to try to be less talky the whole way through, otherwise you're going to be totally distracted all the time by my voice. So let's begin. Take a deep breath out together. Inhale, reach the arms up, palms facing forward, hands reach back. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, step your right foot back, right knee to the ground, look up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold the breath out, don't breathe for a moment, and as you do so, bring your knees, chest and chin to the ground. Inhaling, flatten out the body, Cobra, arch the back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward again, right knee to the ground. We arch the back, fingertips down. Exhale, feet to the front of the mat, fold forward. Inhale, body and arms up, reach the hands back. Exhale, palms together, front of the chest. That's one half. Second side, inhale, arms reach up and back. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, left foot back, left knee down, arch. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold the breath out, lower the knees, chest and chin to the ground. So we're not breathing here, this is a breath retention moment. Deep breath in, Cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, left knee to the ground, arch the back, smooth moving with your breath. Exhale, feet to the front of your mat, fold forward. Inhale, come up, reach the arms back. Exhale, palms together. I'll guide you through maybe 2 more each side. Inhale, reach arms up and back. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, right foot back, look up. Exhale, step back, downward dog. Hold the breath out, lower the knees, chest and chin to the ground. Look in front with the eyes. Inhale, Cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left foot forward, right knee down, arch. Exhale, feet to the front of the mat, fold forward. Inhale, come up, reach the arms up and back. Exhale, palms together. Second side, inhale, reach the arms up and back, following with the eyes to the hands if you can. Exhale, fold forward, chin down, eyes down, in a relaxed place. Inhale, left foot back, look up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold the breath out, lower down, knees, chest and chin. Deep breath in, Cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right foot forward, left knee to the ground. Exhale, feet together at the front, fold forward. Inhale, come up, arms back. Exhale, palms together. So I'll talk you through 1 more each side. Inhale, arms reach up and back. Deeper every time. Exhale, full forward fold, waking up the legs and back. Inhale, right foot back, look up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold the breath out, lower down. Inhale, Cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left foot forward, right knee down, arching, we look up. Exhale, feet to the front of the mat, fold forward. Inhale, come up, arms up and back. Exhale, palms together. Second side, inhale, reach. Exhale, forward. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold your breath out, lower down. Inhale, Cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right foot forward, left knee to the ground. We arch the back. Exhale, feet to the front of the mat, fold forward. Inhale, come up, reach the arms back. Exhale, palms together. Stay here for a few breaths. In case you've lost your breath a bit, bring it back now. With palms together. Some more instructions. We're now going to do another 2 rounds, which means 4 sides. 1 round is left and right side. Yeah, so 4 full sides, 2 rounds. I'll do the first one with you, so those who get lost can have a quick look what I'm doing. But no more talking here. After done the first round, I'm going to stop and sit and go it through my mind to keep you on time. So now you might find yourself moving faster or slower than me. This is now fine. You now work within your own breath speed. Do not choose your slowest speed. Choose a medium, comfortably slow speed. Let's begin. Begin whenever you're ready. I'll do the first full one, so first 2 sides with you. So you're doing a total of left, right. Yeah? So 2 full rounds, 4 sides. Begin. Keep going. If you're watching me, don't. Do it on your own. One on each side by yourself. Join the movements with your breath. No postures are held, it's all flowing. And when you've finished the final of the 2 full rounds, the 4 sides, simply wait at the front of your mat, standing with hands together front of your chest or hands by your sides. And when some time has passed, when I feel like most of you will probably be finished, hopefully all of you, I'll continue. So we'll take another few minutes, not minutes, moments, just to make sure you're all there together. Those there already, very still. Just working with your breath. Always remember, everything we do on this training is meditative. And actually, if you really practice yoga traditionally, it is always meditative. Otherwise, it is not yoga. It is just yoga-based exercise, which is not what I'm teaching. Nothing wrong with it, just not the point of this particular approach we're taking this week. Okay, I feel like you're probably all there. So we'll take our first longer hold, and then we'll get to some standing postures. We'll do a few little periods of longer sustained asanas in between other things. So we're not going to worry too much about how to transition all the time from pose to pose. In classical Hatha, this is not really a concern. It's more about the actual postures or movements themselves. So let's come down onto the ground. And what I'd like you to do there is lie down, and we'll come into Sphinx Pose. This is one we're going to develop today over the course of 3 periods. This is the first. And we'll take about 3 or so minutes there. So what I'd like you to do is place your elbows directly underneath your shoulders. Notice how there's not a big wide gap and not too far forward or too far back. A lot of people do it like this. This is really terrible. It's a lot of strain, doesn't really help you. Bring your elbows directly under the shoulders. You know, the old Sphinx. The classical name for this is Ardha Bhujangasana, which means half cobra posture. So notice how my feet are not this way, they're not together. They're usually hip or shoulder width is great, whatever feels best really. And for this first one, this will change in later variations. Relax your bum completely. The shoulders actively press down, the chin is down. Now some of you might find this posture very easy. Still, do it this way. You'll find that it goes deeper and more intense later. This first session isn't anything too crazy. It's really quite gentle. So here now, we're in the first sustained posture. And what I'd like you to do is really consciously work with your breath, slowing it right down. There is an exception here to the breath direction. This is no longer a breath that moves up and down the body. All the Bhujangasana, Cobra variations have a purely abdominal breath. That means as you breathe in, just inflate the belly. As you breathe out, just deflate the belly. So all the elements of the breath are the same. Ujjayi, we use the sound. We breathe evenly. Inhale, exhale, the same length. We don't allow pauses. We breathe as deeply as we can without any strain. And we slow the breath right down now because we're in a sustained asana. Let's remember the wonderful words of A.G. Mohan, one of my illustrious teachers, wonderful teacher in India, really one of the great, I feel, modern teachers. As in, he's one of the last remaining Krishnamacharya students. So the great master Krishnamacharya he worked with this master for 17 years on a mostly daily basis, the last 17 years of his life. So A.G. Mohan likes to say a few quite funny things for the modern yogi, and one of my favorites is, yoga is not a workout, it's a work in. Okay, so let's do a work in. Don't try to get fit right now. You get fit and healthy through this stuff anyway, but this is not the point, especially in this training. This is the point that we are trying to actually enter into deep states. We are making the journey towards samadhi, ecstatic bliss, not rock hard abs. That can be a different day, a different training, run by someone else. So smooth, slow breath. You're already more than halfway. I've distracted you skillfully with my words. I'm not going to shut up for a while and let you work on it. Close the eyes if you wish. If you start to get like your arms are burning and you can't hold it anymore, come out for a little while. Not too long, only as long as you need. And then when you're ready, come back up. You're not just blanking out with the mind. One of the big skills of meditative awareness, we do not try to shut up the thinking. Instead, we try to fill the mind with feeling. We feel the breath coming in and out. We feel the movements of the belly. We feel the softness of the legs, the softness of the face. Keep going, 30 more seconds or so. If the eyes are open, they are steady at one point, but soft. Or the eyes can be closed. Okay, next exhalation. Come out, and we'll start just for a moment lying down, and you can either place your hands like a pillow, like I'm doing, in front of you and rest your forehead there, or if you would prefer, you can have your hands more like to the side and turn your head to one side. For those turning the head to one side, I will let you know when we are halfway in this very brief rest. And please, let your breath go now just for a short time. Unlike vinyasa in classical Hatha, we are not afraid to every now and again letting go of the breath. When we're not doing something, we don't work with the breath. We just relax and feel into the effect that the practice so far is having. How does it feel in your body? Do you feel your prana, your energy, the sense of tingling electric life in your body? How's the mind? How's the emotional life? How's the mood? Are you hungry? Don't get chocolate cake. Wait until after the session. I will never know, but you will know. Don't get chocolate cake. Or pancakes. Or fried chicken. Ugh. If you like that kind of thing. Turn your head the other way. So those who's turning head to one side, change sides to give your neck some evenness. No breath control, just let the breath relax. So nice to lie down and just feel the body. Feel the tingling in the arms, the back, the spine. And slowly, slowly come out of that. And move back into downward facing dog. And when you get to downward dog, we use that posture as a vehicle for bringing the breath back in. Yeah, so we come back to our Ujjayi breath. We come back to the sense of precision, evenness, smoothness. Breathing up and down the body again, the usual breath direction. Remember, this is the default breath. When I give you instructions like hold your breath out, we did in the Surya Namaskara, or like breathe into your belly, we did in the Sphinx. These are just special cases. Otherwise, we always have a default breath, as I described at great length as you sat at the beginning in Virasana. Let's do a handful of standing postures, just doing a few breaths in each, just to give the body some more directions to move in. So step or hop if you wish, your feet toward the front and bring your feet around hip width apart. So not doing the feet together, not really wide. Many women seem to think hip width is here. I don't know anybody with hips that wide, so please don't do it. Bring your feet so they're roughly straight line. So if your legs are out here, you can see there's a kind of mini triangle position where the feet are wider than the pelvis. It needs to be basically even, yeah? So outside of your bum, straight line down to your feet. Now take hold of your big toes with 2 fingers and thumb, and if you can't reach them without overly bending your knees, have your hands on your shins instead. That's fine too. Let's move first. Deep breath in, we arch the back. Exhale, lean forward, fold forward, drop the chin, broaden the shoulder blades, and take a few breaths there. So lean forward as far as you can into the front of your feet. So we're going to avoid kind of leaning back, stay in the pose. Again, I'm not going to demonstrate everything the whole way, no need. I'm not a yoga model. I'm a yoga teacher, so I'm teaching you this stuff. You don't need to see everything all the time. Then you won't be looking at feeling yourself. You'll be trying to always look outside yourself. I'll always demonstrate, but always only briefly. Try to spread the sits bones apart. Roll the pelvis forward so your bum sticks out, just like in downward dog. Let your chin come down, so the chin isn't jutting out, it's down. So it's like the back of the head is reaching toward the feet rather than the chin. Let's move on to another standing forward bend. Inhaling, the chest lifts again. Exhale, step onto the palms of the hands. This is Pada Hastasana, foot to hand posture. And you may really want to bend your knees, that's no problem. You see my knees are already bent right now? If that's you, totally fine. In fact, you want to have your belly and thighs touching here. So bend your knees as much as you need to accomplish that. Bring your chin down, and over time begin to straighten your legs. You may or may not end up in full extension of your legs. That very much depends on your personal back and hamstring and even length of limbs situation. If you have really long legs and short arms, you will not be going to a very straight position in most cases. Some of you find it very easy to get into leg extensions. Still, same breath. Remember, we're not doing long sustained asanas, so just a regular, smooth, slow breath, not really slow. Only take those really slow breaths when you're in a sustained asana. I'll always let you know when they come, when you spend more time, usually on the ground. Okay, inhale, look up. Exhale, hands on waist. Inhale, bring the body upright. Exhale, hands by your sides. Inhale, step your left foot back in a medium stance. Whatever you do with your heel alignment is up to you based on what you've learned. I personally recommend heels slightly away from each other widthways. It's as if there's a line running down the middle of your mat and your heels are either side of that imaginary line. That means your hips are well placed. I know some of you like heel to arch, some of you like heel to heel. If that's something you like to do, no problem. Whatever feels best. Inhale, arms out to the sides. Exhale, reach your right hand as far as you can to your right shin or foot or ground or big toe. Don't go so low you slump like this. This is not Trikonasana. This is rubbish asana. It doesn't work. So come high as you need. I'd rather you were up here with your body open than down here with your body closed. If you can be down here with your body open, great. Do that. Now back of the head is reaching, so the chin is a bit down, and then we look up. If looking up is causing strain, look sideways instead. Take a few breaths there longer. Activate both legs, open the chest, open the back, open everything as much as you can to face outward. Inhaling up the body, exhaling down the body. Ujjayi breath, the sound, the smoothness, keep everything intact. Now exhale, bring your hands down, turn the hands and the feet around the other way, reshuffle your feet apart, and then see where your hand wants to go. It might want to go on your foot or much higher or even on the ground. We then open up the right arm. Back of the head reaches forward, chin down, then head rolls up, shoulders away from the ears. Activate the front leg by reaching the left heel a little bit in and back. And, many ways of placing the hands. Really not important. It doesn't matter as long as you're open facing and your legs are getting a stretch. It's good. Keep going, a breath or two more. Exhale, hands down, walk the hands around, turn the feet, longer stance, separate your feet out, bend the front knee. And there's really two main options you have here. The softer version is to have your forearm on your thigh. For those who want to go deeper, place your right hand on the ground outside the foot, either fingertips on a block or palm flat. Either way, reach the left arm over. And what I'd like you to do with the reach, so you can see more easily, is to actually turn the hand in. So the upper arm bone is externally rotating. We're rolling open the left upper arm bone, which means the palm will be facing in toward you rather than out. Not this way, this way. Reach the arm over, and if you can, look up to the palm. If your neck hates that, don't do it. Look down, look sideways. Really opening up the whole right side of the body. Keep going. Reach into your back foot, reach through the arm, open to the side as much as you can. Exhale, hands down, turn the feet, long stance. Bend the front knee and either forearm or hand down like last time. Choose whichever position you chose on the other side if you can. If you're injured, you might consider using a different posture, but in future, try to have at least the same basic shape in both sides. If it means you have to do an easier version in the non-injured side, if you are injured, do that. No problem. It's not so good to keep going really deep on one side and the other side you're kind of staying out. That means you get really flexible on one side and totally stiff on the other. Not healthy. We strive for balance. So forearm on thigh or hand to the ground, right hand over. Remember to externally rotate the upper arm bone, so you're rolling open the arm, which means the palm is facing in rather than out or down. And then we reach the arm over, opening out the right side as much as you can, maybe looking to the palm. Normal breath, inhaling up, exhaling down. Keep going, a few more breaths. Exhale, hands down, turn your feet, step back, downward dog. Before we do another 2 standing asanas, a little while in a moment, we'll do our second of these Bhujangasana variations. Bring your knees to the ground and once again lie down. By the way, I'm putting these in session 1 because they're very important for the spine. Yeah, one of the main features of meditation posture is a very upright spine that has a slight lordosis at the lower back. It sounds like a disease. I have a lordosis, oh no. A lordosis just means it's a bit of a lower back arch. Yeah, so we're not letting the back hunch and squeeze shut. We're a little bit of an arch. And these Cobra postures really help with that, besides just being very good for general health, especially digestion, due to the abdominal activation we use and the waking up and the breath. Just don't believe me, just try and see. They're good postures. So if you need to stay in the first one, no problem. Stay in your Sphinx, stay in your relaxed variation. But even if you do stay here, you have an added element, which is the legs. So all of you start here, and what I'd like you to do here is now press down the feet a little bit. And you'll do that and start to feel the legs activate. At the same time, you'll press the front of the hips a little bit into the ground. So that means suddenly there's a little bit more of an arch already. Your bum is active. Once you're in the full posture, I'll give you a very silly metaphor that I've developed for how to hold our bum in these positions. The egg metaphor. something to look forward to. Some of you know that one anyway. So, if you know the egg metaphor, remember it now, use it. Now, if that's enough, you stay here, but you press the feet down. Unlike last time, the legs were inert, now they're working. Those who want to go step 2 out of the 3 possible steps, you extend the arms, but still keep the arms in front. So we're not going to bring in the hands back. This is still a kind of half cobra. It's no longer Sphinx, but it's not quite full cobra yet, which we get to soon enough. So whatever you're doing here, chin down, back of head high. I mean, there are some lineages, to be brutally honest, in India that do teach chin up in cobra variations. I'm not a big fan myself. If you really like it, go ahead. Speaking anatomically, it's not 100% great to hold your neck in this position, as it is contracting your spine at the cervical vertebrae. If your neck really likes it, great. But most people, I suspect, are better off having the chin down with the back of the head up. So the egg metaphor, as you're here, once again, same breath, abdominal only, and it's slow again. It's just like we did in the last cobra, we're doing these slow breaths. So egg metaphor means, imagine that suddenly someone is putting a raw egg right between your bum cheeks. And it's quite a fragile egg. It's not one of those heavy-duty eggs. It's like one of those horrible battery hen eggs. Ugh, nasty. Which are usually very thin because the poor hens aren't happy. If you ever take an egg from a wild chicken, it's usually pretty tough. It's got a tough exterior. So one of those very fragile eggs, and someone puts it in between your bum cheeks. And you still got to get home on the train after your class, right? So you don't want to have that egg erupt and get your bum all sticky. So you want to hold that egg in place. At the same time, you do not want to crush the egg. Yeah? So crushing the egg means you're squeezing the bum together, the egg would crush. This is bad for your bum because it tightens your lower back. Letting the bum be too flaccid, the egg will roll out. You're not using enough bum activation as you need in this posture, done in this way at least. It can be done with a relaxed bum, as we did earlier, but I wouldn't usually recommend it for too long periods in this variation unless you're trying to heal a disc injury. This is not part of this training, but you can use that to heal lower back pain. But that's very specific, and most people will find it unhelpful. So work with the egg metaphor. The egg is held in place, it's not crushed, it's not falling out. And let's just take a little longer, not long, another minute or so. So take your time, stay in the posture. Once again, I'm not going to stay in these poses with you the whole time. I've already practiced today and taught 2 classes, so I'm not going to show you everything the whole time. Remember, slow down the breath when you're in a sustained asana as slow as you can, without straining, without becoming uneven. And remember, in the Cobra variations, these 3 variations we're doing today, you're breathing specifically into the abdomen. Yeah, abdomen inflates as you breathe in, deflates as you breathe out. Still use Ujjayi. No bandhas. We'll talk about bandhas in a future session, as I mentioned. We can't do everything at once. I'll do those tomorrow or other, whenever your next Hatha class is going to be practiced. My time tomorrow. Next exhalation, lie down again with your hands acting as a pillow, or turn your head to one side. Same format. Let the breath go. And just relax. Keep the awareness inside the body. Don't change sides for those turning to one side. I'll let you know when. Close the eyes if you wish, open them if you need. But let the awareness rest inside the interior of the body. Turn your head, those who are doing that. Never forget, in the classical context, the whole point of yoga postures is to be one of the many steps on the path toward ecstatic meditation, which is the big step on the path to understanding what the point of it all is. You, me, the world, the stars, the universe. So please, 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 asanas, pranayama, they're all vehicles toward meditation. Meditation is a vehicle for samadhi. Samadhi is a vehicle for true understanding. So don't treat your asanas like another way of torturing yourself, please. Use them in a way that is helping you in meditation. Whatever form you do, I don't care. Bikram, do what you like. Just do it in a way that is present and meditative. And release. Come back into downward facing dog. We'll do another 2 standing postures as promised. First, downward dog to reignite your breath. Again, inhaling up, exhaling down the body. Whenever you're ready, as you breathe in, step your right foot forward in a medium stance. Left foot is 45 degrees to the front. And again, the heels are slightly open in regard to each other, rather than crossed or heel to heel or too open. They're a little bit open. To remind you, it's like there's a line down the middle and your heel is just either side of the line. Once you're there with your legs in full extension, bring your left hand either onto the shin, the foot, a block, or the ground, keeping the right leg quite straight without being locked. And bring the right arm up. If you can turn your head up to look up, do. Otherwise, keep the head down. Take a few breaths there. Again, same thing, that smooth, slow breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down the body. Medium speed, it doesn't have to be that slow, comfortably slow. Don't make your breath really slow. To quote my own teacher, Gregor Mele, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. So we're breathing kind of a nice medium slow speed, only slowing it right down when you are in sustained asanas. I've said that a few times because I really want you to not forget. Okay, exhale, hands down, turn the feet. And change sides when you're ready. Return to face the left foot. The right foot is 45 degrees to the left foot. When you're there, you place your right hand wherever it can go. Could be inward of the foot, could be on the foot or the shin, on a block, or for those who can reach, the ground. Outside the left foot, left arm up. Twist. With your breath, moving up as you breathe in, moving down as you breathe out. Every breath you're fully present in the body. By the way, by the end of this training, I really, really hope for you that all the skills you learn here in this training will revitalize everything you do, including your asana practice. You can use all these meditative techniques in your asana practice, in your posture practice. They're not only for sitting on a cushion. Exhale, hands down, turn the feet. And last one here, bring the left knee to the ground, shuffle your right foot over to the left side of the mat. Bring your left shin to the ground. And what you do here is just check what distance away you need your foot to be. If your knee feels pretty good here, you can aim for parallel shin to ground position like I'm doing here. If you need to make it easier, bring your foot in, no problem. For those who are very flexible, foot further away is also fine. Once you've reached whatever you can reach, walk your left foot back. Start with the fingertips on the ground. Take a deep breath in, arch the back. Exhaling, come forward and down. And relax there with a slow, smooth breath for a few breaths. Again, normal breath here. Normal as in not extra slow. Up and down the body. The breath we started off with, the default breath. Not too long here, let's move on. Slowly, slowly release. And the way you release is by first bringing your hands in front, then carefully come back. Take your time, and if you need to do something here, like I know some people like to lift their legs in this pose, that's fine. I like to do the opposite. I like to press the foot down of the leg that was bent. This helps me find more extension in the leg, thereby get more release through the areas that were just bent. Whatever you have to do, whenever you're ready, could be now, could be in a little while, bring your left shin forward, going through the process again. Take a breath or two, arching the back, and whenever you're ready, fold forward and come down. Kind of relaxing on your shin with a slow, gentle breath. Tuning into the body, which isn't so hard to do when you're in postures, when you're in yogasanas, there's a lot of stuff to feel. Let your mind rest there. We are so used to the mind being occupied by things like whatever app you like to use on your phone, by whatever distraction, whatever music you like, or by gossip or whatever. I mean, when I started all this stuff, I started to meditate when I was 16, I'm now 42. It was quite a while ago. Back then it was much easier to do this work. I remember my first meditation was very deep. There were no mobile phones. None of this. These days we really, really need to learn when we practice to shift our awareness from this kind of being used to stimulation to learning to listen to the body, to the internal stuff. Yeah. And exit, carefully come back into downward facing dog. Do whatever you need to do, lift your left arm or pressing the left foot down, or just do a normal downward dog. And whenever you're ready, could be now, could be in a little while, come down onto your knees and back down one more time onto your belly. Last of these, and we'll take a little less time here, as the full classical Bhujangasana is actually really quite a big challenge. This is actually a strong posture. So for classical Bhujangasana, the full form of Cobra, now keep in mind you're welcome to do one of the first two again, forearms or hands this way. But those of you who can, the full form has the hands now back. So your thumbs are basically, the base of your chest, where your ribs on the sides of the body are, kind of just above the solar plexus, a bit below your nipples. So your thumbs are there. The elbows are straight up, so don't let the elbows come to the sides, straight up. Start with the chin down, and taking a deep breath in, extend the arms, but only as far as you can, with your thighs in full contact with the ground. So not lifting up this way, that's no longer Cobra. We're staying down with the hips. Press the elbows in, and again here you have the choice of doing this business, as some Indian schools do. I'm a firm advocate, my main Hatha teacher is also in India, of the back of the head rising up. He used to say to me, Cobra looks down at its prey. It does not look to roof to find prey. Yeah, so the cobra doesn't go like this, does it? Cobra's looking down. So we look down here, and you might notice already, the arms are working. So the arms are working quite hard. So what you might need to do, when you start shaking or struggling, come out for a while. Take a break, but only for as long as you need. When any kind of feeling of difficulty subsides, return. Close the eyes if you wish. Return to that slow breath where you're inhaling into the belly, exhaling, the belly squeezes back. Draw the shoulders down the back, lift the chest high, chin down, back of the head high as you can. It's really important. We want to give the neck length. Abdominal only. Do not breathe up and down here. All the Cobra variations, at least done in a classical context as I learned them in India, are abdominal breath exercises. They are not normal up and down the body breaths. Just a little longer, not as long as the others. This is a much tougher posture. It's one of those great classical asanas I suggest you spend some time with. Start with trying to get to 3 minutes and then extend, extend, extend. My teachers recommended 20 minutes at a stretch of Bhujangasana. If you really, really want to choose one of the great asanas that help your meditation practice, but never strain, never force. Lower back pain is to be avoided. Exhale, release. And this time, rather than just resting, come up and come into a child pose. So sit back. And please, if you can, take the child pose with hands behind you rather than in front. Drop the head and let the breath go. Just relax there. No need for controlled breathing for now. Just relax there a bit longer. Letting the back soften and letting everything release. We're almost at the end of our asana part. We'll start some pranayama in a moment, after I teach you the different options for seated positions. Okay, come back up. So, I want to give you the various options you have on how to sit in yogic meditation. When we actually do meditation itself, which will be a separate session, I'll record at a separate time, I'll give you another option that is great for mindfulness meditations. But if you're doing yogic meditation and you want to work toward classical postures, these are the options. Option 1, Virasana. Do this with me if you like. And if you find one that you like or that feels like it's enough, you stick to that one. You've done this one already. Let's not stay here. The second option you have is a posture known as Ardha Siddhasana. Siddhasana is one of the most important meditation postures. In fact, many Hatha Yoga manuals from the ancient days say it's the most important. This is the half version. So for Ardha Siddhasana, it doesn't matter which leg you use. Let's use the left leg now. Bring the left heel right into the inner left thigh and bring the right foot in front. So the feet are, you can hopefully see, the heels are basically one in front of the other. Yeah? So not crossing over like this, the heels are like so. The knees are far to the side. Again, as always, we bring the bum out of the way, so you're sitting on the front of the sits bones. Don't worry about the breath for now, let that go. This is one very good option. It's the second option you can use. If the first one is very easy, you can progress to this one. These are usually learned progressively, one after the other, although sometimes you can do them all at once, depending on your hips and your legs. So let's look at the third option. The third option is called Swastikasana, named after the beautiful ancient Indian symbol, the swastika, nothing to do with a certain German regime. Please do not get hijacked by a misguided regime and its appropriation of a beautiful ancient symbol. The Swastikasana literally means, the swastika literally means good symbol. It's nothing to do with, all these weird things that went on in Europe and some time ago. So Swastikasana is quite a lovely posture, but this is already quite challenging. So if your legs aren't yet that open or you have some knee injuries, you might sit this one out and do one of the other two again. So Swastikasana, like Ardha Siddhasana, can be done either leg first. Let's do this one the right leg first, actually, to give you some variety. So for Swastikasana, it's very similar to Siddhasana with one big difference. In Swastikasana, the right heel comes to the inner left thigh, or the left heel comes to the inner right thigh. You can start with either leg first. In fact, if you do this one regularly, change which leg you use every day. Not in one session, every second day you choose the other leg. So notice how my right heel is touching the top of my left thigh. In Siddhasana, in a moment, we'll change that to bring the heel to the same leg, which is much deeper, much more pressure. Sounds small, it's a huge difference. So here, right heel to inner left thigh. We then bring the left foot, start putting it on top. There's a little gap in between the calf and the thigh here that you place your foot on. We don't stay here. This is where it starts to get a bit extreme. This is where you start to get some, slight strangeness here. So what you do is point your toes and place your foot in between the two halves of the leg. We then place the knee down. And now the really fruity part of the posture is right hand reaches through and pulls the toes of the left foot up. So they're poking up a little from the thigh. So there's this kind of action with the leg. So my right foot is kind of up a little bit, my left foot kind of down a little bit. And again, we sit on the front of the sits bones in whatever meditation posture we are using. This is Swastikasana, posture named after the good symbol. Now we have another option, which is Siddhasana itself. Now in Siddhasana, let's do this one left side first. To balance lotus, which is always right side first, we bring the left heel all the way to the left thigh. You can also do right leg first if you wish. We then bring the right foot into the gap between the two halves of the left leg. And we sit like so. Yeah. So now, same as last time, but now the legs are far wider. The heels are one on top of the other rather than crossed over. Again, we reach through, whichever hand you want to use to reach. We pull through the left foot, so it's poking up a little bit. And the effect will be that the bottom heel will be pressing into your perineum, which is why it's considered to be the perfect posture. Siddhasana, the posture of the siddhas, the perfected ones, the enlightened ones. Because that stimulation of the heel into the perineum wakes up the energy that's coiled at the root of the spine. We'll talk about the Kundalini energy on the training in the meditation, part 3, the yogic meditations. And once again, we sit upright, and as we do. Final choice you have is Padmasana, lotus posture. This one is almost always done right leg first. If you're a tantrika, it can be done left leg first, but usually it's done right leg first. I usually practice Siddhasana left leg first, Padmasana right leg first, and then they feel balanced. That's how I do it. So for those who can, please don't bust your knees, only if you're very ready for this. Right knee to the side, right heel in, right knee down. Left knee to the side, left heel in, and voila. We sit in Padmasana. Now, initially, often even when I sit, even though I've done this posture for nearly 20 years now, I often start with the knee a little bit up, and then usually within 30 seconds or so, a minute, it just settles down. So don't worry if your knee's a bit up initially. Sit upright. And I'd like you to choose one of those postures we've just done. Virasana, hero pose. Ardha Siddhasana, feet one in front of the other. Swastikasana, the first strange one we did. Then Siddhasana, the second one with feet further to the center, knees more to the side. Or Padmasana, lotus. Choose one. And if you need to put your bum on a cushion or two to make this easier, whatever variation you're doing, do that. Please sit upright. And bring your hands into a palms up facing direction, chin down. And sitting here, we'll take some slow, smooth, gentle breaths. Coming back into the Ujjayi breath you did earlier. Let's change one thing. In pranayama, the breath direction is different. We're no longer inhaling up, exhaling down. We're inhaling up, exhaling up. Inhale, abdomen, ribs, and chest inflate. Exhale, abdomen deflates, ribs deflate, chest deflates. In that order. There's an upward flow of breath as you breathe in, an upward flow of breath as you breathe out. This is called the double up breath wave. And this too was called the 3-part double up breath wave. So that means you're giving equal time to each of the 3 main sections of your torso. Abdomen, middle part, chest. In turn, inhale lower, middle, upper. Exhale belly in first, ribs in, chest drops. Work with this precisely with a breath that is as slow as comfortably possible. I'll remind you of each of the primary steps again. Step 1, Ujjayi breath that is even. Step 2, no pauses, smooth, continuous breath. Step 3, as deep as you can without straining. So complete yogic breathing cycle. Breathe in all the way, breathe out all the way. Don't push. Step 4, breathe as slowly as you possibly can without any trace of struggle or discomfort. Step 5, we've done already. Inhale, breathe up the body. Exhale, breathe up the body. The way that I'm going to finish this session today, I've made the actual content a tiny bit shorter than the full 90 minutes, which will happen in future classes. And this is simply because I want you to take a full Shavasana. You've all set aside 90 minutes. You know, if I did this at the end of a 90-minute session, none of you would do it. You've all set aside 90 minutes. Keep breathing for now. If you are in a rush, even if you're not, set your timer to 10 minutes. You're not going to start it yet. You can let go of the breath. You can set your timer. And begin to unfold your legs carefully. Lie down on your back. If you can, take a normal Shavasana where you simply lie flat all the way on your back with your hands by your sides, palms facing up. If you need to put bolsters under your knees or thin cushions, not too high please, under your head, that's fine. Don't do it in your bed, you fall asleep. Do it on the ground. So please press your timer to go, so you start your 10-minute session of Shavasana. And I'm simply going to chant that mantra for you one more time, translate it once, and then this recording will end. And after it ends, you'll have probably another 8 or 7 or 8 minutes. And in that time, stay absolutely still. Try to stay aware of the body and relax. And that's it. And see what happens. Don't move. Feel the body, relax. Then we'll meet together at the meditation, the first of the guided meditations for this program. So you're in Shavasana now, hopefully already. I'll chant the mantra for you one more time, translate it. And then you just keep going. Asato ma satgamaya Dhammaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma mritam gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May I move from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May there be peace, peace, perfect peace.